Joining me now from Capitol Hill, right from the hearing, is ranking member of the committee, Richard Shelby, Republican from Alabama. Good to have you on the program, Senator.
Thank you, Maria.
So there have been reports about this Volcker rule, and we heard Chairman Volcker talking about separating proprietary trading from pure vanilla lending at commercial banks. Why are we focused on proprietary trading when we know that it wasn't proprietary trading that got us into the upset that brought the economy to its knees?
Maria, it's an excellent question. Actually, it was one I asked Dr. Volcker a couple of hours ago, and he couldn't really answer that, except he said he was looking to the future. Well, I believe that a strong regulator, if the regulator's alert, they can handle these kinds of problems. If they think that a bank is not doing right, they think a bank might be jeopardizing the safety and soundness, they can step in. I'm not sure, after this day's hearing, that we need the Volcker rule. There are things that can be done short of that. And as you pointed out, the proprietary trading, all banks trade some in a proprietary way. How do you define it? How do you limit it? And secondly, we look back, and it was not the cause of the financial debacle.
Well, would this Volcker rule require large financial institutions to sell businesses in order to comply?
It's my understanding that it would. They would have to limit their trading. It would probably not do a lot of good, but would do a lot of harm to financial institutions, perhaps even to the market itself. But I think what we're trying to do in regulatory reform, as we look back, we've been holding hearings off and on and negotiating for about a year, is find out what happened, what were the root causes, and prevent them in the future. We also have to be mindful of things we haven't thought of, but strong regulators can deal with this. We don't need legislation, in my judgment.
Well, let me ask you about strong regulators and include the rest of the world in addition to the U.S., because a number of regulators and finance ministers from outside the United States are wondering why these rules popped out of nowhere in the U.S. Without any conversation with other regulators and ministers of finance around the world. Do we not need some kind of a standard for the globe, given that this business is global?
Absolutely. We're going to have a standard for the world dealing with this, and we're going to have to take into consideration all financial institutions. Otherwise, there will be financial arbitrage. They just move offshore and they'll do something like that.
Right, but it wasn't like that, right? I mean, so what are we doing? We're expecting the rest of the world to follow suit. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm hoping that whatever we do, we do something wise, that we think this out, that we're prudent in our thinking, that we do not rush to judgment. I believe the Volcker rule just kind of parachuted in to our hearings, and I'm not sure it went so well.
You know, let me ask you a broader question, Senator, because, of course, we know that there are rules. The Basel II is going to be updated to Basel II, the Basel rules overseeing international financial institutions. And apparently, under that rule, the Basel rule, the international banks are required to hold a lot less capital than the U.S. banks. I guess toward the end of the year, we're going to probably see a huge money raise on the top of the international banks to get in line. How are we jiving this with the Basel rules already in place?
Well, I've asked those questions. When I chaired the banking committee and this was being proposed, the Basel II rules, I said then, and a lot of the other people on the committee, they questioned whether or not this would actually make the banks less safe. In other words, you lower the capital and then you have risky behavior, you're going to have problems. I don't believe anything is too big to be big. I do think that things that are too big and believe they're going to get government bailout, they're too big to exist.
Yeah, that's what you said in the hearing. You said it's not necessarily too big to fail, but too connected to fail, right?
Absolutely, and that's part of it, and we have to be mindful of this, and I think we are. Senator Dodd and a lot of members of the banking committee on both sides of the aisle, we're making some progress. We're dealing with some strong concepts. I'm hoping that we can do something and do it right in the next couple of months.
Senator Shelby, last week, House Financial Services Committee Chairman Barney Frank said that a bill could be ready to be signed by the president by the spring. You agree on that timing?
You talking about a bank regulatory bill?
Yes, I am, sir.
That would be rushing it. It would take a lot of work and it would take a lot of agreement. We're not nearly there yet. But we have been making some giant strides. I hope we will continue.
So what are we talking about, year end, sir?
No, well, we hadn't agreed on everything yet, but we are making some progress. We're working in good faith. But whatever we do, we better do it right. Let's don't rush to get something on the president's desk or get something before spring. Let's rush to get it right.